October 1st, 2023. Turkey says terrorists set off bomb at Ankara government building. Suicide bomber detonates device in Turkish capital. Second assailant is killed in shootout. McCarthy to face far-right attempt to oust him as House Speaker. Jamal Bowman under investigation for pulling fire alarm to delay vote to avoid government shutdown. Squad member says, "I thought alarm would open the door." Asterisk Breitbart exclusive photos disprove outlandish claim. Emotional Rory McIlroy leads Europe to victory over cheat Americans at Ryder Cup. Emotional Northern Irish golfer says F-word row put fire in his belly as U.S. team is booed by hostile crowd and taunt their opponents. How Universal scares up monster revenues with horror Halloween Horror Nights. Elon Musk channels Alex Jones and John McAfee. Fires 50 cal rifle from hip at Texas ranch. Retail theft surged by more than 20% last year, reaching unprecedented levels, according to survey of business owners. Younger voters can still save us. National Day fireworks display in Hong Kong dazzles crowd after 5-year wait. Taylor Swift Girl Squad in full effect in NYC, dinner with Sophie, Blake, and Brittany Mahomes. The 2010s was a decade of protests. Why did so many revolutions fail? October 2nd, 2023. Donald Trump attends court as civil fraud trial begins in New York. Fire engulfs police facility in Egypt's Ismailia. They're trying to damage me. Trump New York civil fraud trial begins. A pissed-off Trump shows up for his bank fraud trial. Michael Jordan is now worth $3 billion and joins the Forbes 400. Smirk of justice, rogue judge's ear-to-ear grin as Trump takes a seat in the courtroom. Saudi progress with Israel parachutes over Palestine, frustrated Jordan's Abdullah. Trump House of Cards finally on trial. Circus. Dawn appears. COVID vaccines damage all hearts, steady finds. Football Yob sacked, faces prison and a lifetime ban for mocking Bradley Lowery. Corrupt people. Trump $250 million fraud conspiracy case hinges on serial liar Michael Cohen. Woman sues Disney for waterslide wedgie that sent her to the hospital. In France, workers build a castle from scratch the 13th century way. GOP senators weigh go big or go home strategy on Ukraine. California's math misadventure is about to go national. Jody Turner-Smith files for divorce from Joshua Jackson. Rude, disrespectful, and unruly. MPs say the House of Commons has turned into a circus, and someone needs to tame it. Gates finally takes his shot at felling McCarthy. Pediatricians and parents struggle to get updated COVID vaccine for kids. October 3rd, 2023. Ukraine downs 29 Russia-launched drones and 1 cruise missile. Trump turns his fraud trial into a campaign stop as he seeks to capitalize on his legal woes. Democrats don't want to be McCarthy's cheap date. Trump lawyers back to old antics on bank fraud trial day 1. Hunter Biden begged Joe for cash to pay for alimony and other financial issues, texts show. Hunter Biden arrives to court hearing, expected to plead not guilty to federal gun charges. Lefty journalist who mocked Scott Adams' murder prediction, murdered inside home 2 days later. California's incoming senator, LaFonza Butler, describes her whirlwind trip into history. Ivanka Trump's penthouse price comes under scrutiny in fraud trial. Democrat rep carjacked at gunpoint in D.C. outside congressional dorms. Guess how many Dems voted against stronger penalties for carjackings this year? They're just meat. Russia deploys punishment battalions in echo of Stalin. Tom Hanks says his likeness stolen for AI-generated ad. Trump attacks court from inside courthouse. The college backlash is going too far. Both these men tweeted at the creator of Dilbert and shared a horrific fate. McCarthy to bring the motion to oust him as Speaker to the floor Tuesday. An epidemic of chronic illness is killing Americans in their prime. October 4, 2023. As Russia's war grinds on, is global support for Ukraine waning? Russia says foiled major Ukrainian drone attack as concerns grow about weapons supplies. MSRNC. Conservatives turn on RNC over handling of first 2 presidential debates. Cops plead for help for on-the-run killer who stabbed social justice activist, 32, on Brooklyn Street at 4 a.m. in front of his girlfriend. Victim engaged knife man after he kicked over scooter. Turkey hits new Kurdistan workers' party targets in Iraq days after Ankara blast. Doctors can no longer question anything the vaccine industry calls science, or they get targeted for delicencing by Dr. Richard Misinformation Barron. LaFonza Butler's Emily's List spends millions on Kamala Harris while laying off grassroots staff. Inside the anti-LGBT effort to put Christian prayer and the Bible back in schools. Office space. Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer evicted from private Capitol offices by interim House Speaker. Republicans trapped in a hell of their own making. 75,000 Kaiser nurses, pharmacists, and other workers have walked off the job. Ukrainian officials worried cash will dry up. Trump knows he's lost this case already. McCarthy made a devil's pact and got scorched. Scientists say strong typhoons arriving earlier, overlapping with extreme summer rain. Kevin McCarthy got what he deserved. Jim Jordan throws his hat in the ring for Speaker. Tupac. Murder suspect Keith D. arraigned. First court appearance. Kevin McCarthy's craven speakership is over. October 5, 2023. Trump seeks dismissal of charges in Stormy Daniels' hush money case. Saudi Arabia announces bid to host World Cup in 2034. Russian strike on village kills 51, Ukrainian officials say, as Zelensky seeks more Western support. United, American, Delta, and Southwest ground planes amid bombshell lawsuit claiming they've bought thousands of faulty engine parts with fake safety certificates from dubious company. Court clash. New York AG Letitia James lashes out at Trump, claims he's dangerous and racist. Trump says he's willing to serve as Speaker. We'll do whatever's best for the country. Sink or swim. Captains of Virginia College women's swim team reveal stressful fight to keep trans athlete off squad. Ukraine is losing ground in the crucial battle for U.S. hearts and minds. Oh look, the Biden administration is building the wall. Not a joke. It just waived 26 laws to make this happen. New technology uses old-fashioned wind to power giant cargo vessels. Biden's dog, Gander, bites another WH staffer. 12th documented time. Kevin McCarthy's downfall is the culmination of the Tea Party. World is collapsing. Pope Francis. GOP aims fire at Gates after McCarthy ouster. Yes, Trump could become Speaker of the House. Rising interest rates mean deficits finally matter. October 6, 2023. Victory is near. Jailed Iranian activist wins Nobel Peace Prize. Russian strikes on Ukraine kill boy in Kharkiv and damage port infrastructure. America created 336,000 jobs in September. July and August revised. Upward pressure on Fed to hike again. Cult classic. Hillary Clinton calls for formal deprogramming of tens of millions of Americans who are extremist. Hijacked hope. Why a decade of mass protest backfired. Ex-top cop helped Bob Menendez's wife leave scene of deadly car crash without sobriety test or handing over phone. How queer is Frankenstein? Is Biden too soft on China? The New York Attorney General is using social media to taunt Donald Trump, the man she is prosecuting, with the dumbest takes. Security Exchange Commission sues to compel Elon Musk to testify in Twitter investigation. Define Nazi. Western media muddies history to cover up Canada's SS scandal. Casualties of the GOP Civil War. Chinese mRNA researchers celebrate Nobel win for field's pioneers. Trump goes nuclear. How Toronto lost its wild 100-year war with raccoons. Kevin McCarthy left the House in an anti-democratic MAGA mess. Even for high earners, student loan repayment is crushing. AOC tells Biden to reverse course on cruel border wall decision. October 7, 2023. We are at war. Israel mobilizes troops after Hamas onslaught leaves over 100 dead and 800 injured. U.S. must stop cooperating with YPG terrorists, Fitton tells Blinken. Biden blames the press for bad poll numbers. How Neil Sheehan really got the Pentagon Papers. Desperate pleas. We are being slaughtered. Israelis cry for help as Hamas militants break into homes. Joe Biden faces fury over Iran deal as Israel attacked. New York firefighters respond to confirmed house fire that was actually just a very realistic Halloween display. Russia starts supplying gas to Central Asia. Spy games. Why the U.S.-China Cold War is heating up in public. Emergency alert test. Prisoners busted with phones behind bars. October 8, 2023. Al-Qassam says its elements still engaged in fighting on several fronts inside Israel. Deafening silence. Outspoken squad dim Tlaib scorched for muted response to Hamas terror attacks. Israel-Gaza war enters second day. Death toll rises to 600 as fighting still rages. Trump blasts Biden for designating MAGA supporters as terrorists and funding Iran's proxy attack on Israel. The U.S. government is preparing for a fentanyl WMD attack. Why the Skechistan Indian band is studying deer poop. There's going to be a lot of soul-searching in Israel when this is over. Americans get poorer as Washington throws cash at Ukraine and migrants. Why are exorcisms on the rise? He gouged out both his eyes. Can the government still execute him? Asian Games officially declared closed in romantic ceremony. Al-Aqsa storm. Palestinian resistance humiliates Israel. Blinken says U.S. to verify reports of dead Americans in Israel. October 9, 2023. Gaza under Israeli fire as Palestinians persist with Al-Aqsa flood. Death toll nears 1,300 as war rages after Hamas attack on Israel. The other shoe drops. War footage shows massive explosions as Israeli fighter jets hammer targets. Bombshell report. Iran helped Hamas plot attack on Israel, greenlit invasion last week. Jim Jordan tried to help Trump mount a coup. Now he gets to be speaker? We will not stop. Israeli forces begin complete siege in Gaza to take out Hamas animals as new images show littlest victims of war. The crimes behind the seafood you eat. China and U.S. need not go head-to-head, Xi Jinping tells American senators. The single most important reality about Israel's war against the savages. Biden is laying the groundwork for a rematch against Trump. Harvard students slammed for letter blaming Israel for Hamas attacks. October 10, 2023. WHO calls for humanitarian corridor into Gaza as Israel pounds besieged enclave. Cable's House of Mirrors. Fox focuses on Hunter Biden, MSNBC on Trump. Unacceptable. AOC slams socialist comrades for promoting pro-Palestine rally in Times Square. Rancid rerun. Trump vows new travel ban. Israeli rabbi to Christians. You shouldn't be worshiping one Jew, you should be worshiping all of us. Family dog shot dead in cold blood by Hamas before raiding home and burning it. How accessible sex ed helps young adults with developmental disabilities form healthy relationships. Final moments. Heartbreaking footage shows German tattoo artist dancing at music festival before Hamas terror attack. How Israel's war could become a nightmare for President Biden. Rashida Tlaib is flying a Palestinian flag alongside a pride flag outside her office. Former Dodgers legend Steve Garvey joins California Senate race as a Republican. Icy awakening. India fails to wake up its lunar mission from a long sleep in negative 200 degrees Celsius. What's next? RFK Jr.'s independent bid could damage Trump more than Biden. Benjamin Netanyahu failed Israel. Israel readies for ground war in Gaza. October 11, 2023. Israel pounds Gaza targets as Netanyahu condemns Hamas savagery. Israel forms emergency government for war with Hamas. Israel bombs Gaza for fourth night as evidence emerges of Hamas atrocities. Infamous spy Maria Butina tears into monster GOP expo. Biden-appointed prosecutor ignored potential conflict of interest in Hunter Biden case, testimony shows. Israel strikes back after rockets hit from north and east. Holy Land braces for three-front war. Erdogan urges West not to add fuel to flames in Mideast. GOP report. Biden welcomed 4 million illegal migrants within 26 months. Gaza in darkness as fuel runs out and hospitals on brink of collapse. Alan Weisselberg still wants to be Trump's fall guy. The 104-year-old who broke the record for oldest skydiver just died in her sleep a week later, and dang, if that isn't an example of living life to the fullest. Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith were living separate lives before Oscars 2022, book excerpt. Western virtue signaling goes hypersonic over Israel. Chinese scientists unlock potentials of a new semiconductor building block. House Republicans bet on divine intervention. House Republicans have opened the gates of hell. October 12, 2023. Bombarded by Israeli airstrikes, conditions in Gaza grow more dire as power goes out. Netanyahu vows Hamas will be crushed. Blinken reiterates American support for Israel. In a new era of deepfakes, AI makes real news anchors report fake stories. Netanyahu links ISIS and Hamas after disturbing flag found near massacre. Russia and Turkey should join forces to counteract fake news. Lavrov. Richard Engel. There's a buildup in Israeli troops arriving at the border. 100-year-old Henry Kissinger says it was the grave mistake to let in so many people of totally different culture and religion concepts after seeing Arabs celebrate Hamas in Europe. Here's how Israel's Iron Dome stops rockets and why Ukraine doesn't have it. Netanyahu. Every Hamas member is a dead man. Israel may elbow Ukraine out for U.S. weapons. CNN. It would be insanity, Washington says, for U.S. and China to descend into conflict. First flight airlifting Canadians out of Israel departs Tel Aviv. Biden's huge blunders have contributed to the horror Israel faces. October, Friday the 13th, 2023. Thousands flee, but no signs of mass exodus after Gaza evacuation warning. 911 calls from deadly Lahaina wildfire show residents' terror and panic and a desperate bid to escape. Lindsey Graham calls on the United States to bomb every country in the world. Global knife attack frenzy as Hamas Day of Rage begins. Hamas War. Israel declares the two terror groups and Iran an axis of evil, and UN warns Gaza is now a hellhole. Day of Rage. Fiery anti-Israel protests erupt around the world. U.S. cities on alert. Hamas rockets intercepted over northern Israel. Rocket hits house in country center. Ankara slams U.S. over anti-terror fight in northern Syria. Emergency worldwide terror alert. Learn how the American left is tied to Hamas and the collapse of the Western world. Supreme Court rejects challenge to Biden's crucial climate metric. Hundreds dead as African nation grapples with disease outbreak. We can all see the horrors of war now. Man held after employee at Israel's embassy stabbed in Beijing Street. The progressives who flunked the Hamas test. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce spending weekend together after their massive wins. Rashida Tlaib finally responds to reports about Hamas beheading babies. Republicans set themselves up for another floor failure in speaker fight. October 14, 2023. UN says Gaza shelters not safe anymore as water runs out for 2.3 million people. Israeli attacks kill 2,269 Palestinians and wound 9,814 others in Gaza and the West Bank. Burned out parents seek help from a new ally ChatGPT. Inside the rescue mission to rescue hostages from Hamas. Bridge too far? Yes, cancel culture is good when it means purging people who cheer killing babies. Grim discoveries. Troops recover bodies of missing Israelis during localized raids on Gaza Strip. Disney reps summoned by Parliament over canceling Ataturk series. No indication any U.S. citizens were able to escape Gaza as crossing deal deadline passes. Hamas Mohammed Deif, mastermind of Israel's 9/11, faces last stand in Gaza. Minnesota man expected to plead guilty to 2005 theft of ruby slippers used in Wizard of Oz. George Santos screams profanities during confrontation with anti-Israel protester. Likely culprit found for recent gray whale die-off. The place where satellites go to die. Biden's presidency at its least unserious. Biden sent millions of dollars in COVID relief funds to Palestine. October 15, 2023. Saudi Crown Prince meets Blinken. We reject attacks against civilians and destruction of infrastructure in Gaza. United States warned Iran in back-channel talks on war, Sullivan says. Israeli troops amass for probable Gaza offensive as Palestinians scramble. Epstein victim who testified against Ghislaine Maxwell has died. FBI director warns of Hamas copycat terror attacks on U.S. soil and urges public to watch out for lone actors amid a heightened environment of fear following deaths of 1,200 Israelis last week. Hero K-9 unit credited with rescuing over 200 civilians during Hamas massacre. Israel uses white phosphorus in Gaza. Amnesty International. Growing weary of the same meals? Try swapping meat for mealworms or grapes for grasshopper. Humanitarian crisis in Gaza worsens ahead of expected Israeli ground offensive. No higher priority. Biden admin says rescuing U.S. hostages in Gaza is highest priority as Israel-Hamas war rages. The problem of the too truthful woman. Biden chose the far-left Council on American Islamic Relations to fight anti-Semitism. Guess what it's doing instead? Clemson students protest after tampon dispenser is removed from men's bathroom. Ukraine's counteroffensive has completely failed. Putin. Will and Jada, a show business marriage. China officials hasten to implement Xi culture and propaganda doctrine. Netanyahu says Israel will dismantle bloodthirsty monsters of Hamas. Taylor and Travis. So now do you believe we're a thing? Hand in hand at Nobu. New report claims China is threatening the United States with a nuclear war warning. October 16, 2023. Biden says Israeli occupation of Gaza would be big mistake. Humanitarian aid is stuck as Gaza-Egypt border as Israeli siege strains hospitals and water supply. The Gospel Coalition publishes Taylor Swift Study Bible. How Trump's team twisted his bank fraud trial into a farce. Jurassic Park star Sam Neill, 76, says he's not afraid of dying as he reveals chemotherapy failed to treat his stage 3 blood cancer and shares heartbreaking photos of his health battle. The Great Cash for Carbon Hustle. Operation Promised Land rescues 270 Americans from Israel. The Treasury Secretary says the U.S. can afford to fight wars in Ukraine and Israel with a $2 trillion deficit and debt approaching $34 trillion. Biden sold off nearly half the United States oil reserve. Is it ready for a crisis? United States government has $5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Wall Street Journal. Biden, Trump, and split-screen reality. Maybe timing is what plagues Kamala Harris most of all. Jim Jordan bullying his way to the speakership is very on brand. Jimmy Allen carrying knife at kids' football game. John Roberts wants everyone to think he's in charge of the Supreme Court. October 17, 2023. Biden plans solidarity visit to Israel amid its ongoing bombings on Palestinians. Jordan's King Abdullah says whole region is on the brink. Israel latest. Musk Starlink approached for wartime backup. First time for everything. Uncharted territory. Obama appointed judge's gag order on Trump is the first of its kind, legal experts say. 4 or 5 days of food left in Gaza shops. United Nations World Food Program. The rise of the abortion cowboy. Billionaire donors, stunned and sickened foundation, cuts ties with Harvard for failing to condemn Hamas terror in Israel. Iran makes ominous threat to United States. Democrats prepare to chain GOP to far-right Jim Jordan in 2024. Survey says Gen Z is 3 times more likely to fall for an online scam than boomers. Britney Spears reveals she had an abortion because Justin Timberlake didn't want to be a father. Ukraine can't wage war without American money according to U.S. The Georgia vote machine theft poses a direct threat to the 2024 election. United States restricts China from NVIDIA chips to hinder Beijing's military development. Will the House GOP really throw its lot in with Jordan? October 18, 2023. Why Republican Jim Jordan's speaker bid is being blocked by moderates in his party. Israel blames Islamic Jihad on Gaza hospital blast that killed nearly 500. GOP scrambles for escape hatch as Jim Jordan falls short again. Biden's Israel trips fails to calm fears of wider conflict. Jordan digs in after second-round defeat, but path forward is uncertain. Meet the billionaire Guatemalan family taking on Chick-fil-A. Massive protests on Capitol Hill as demonstrators demand Gaza ceasefire. The Part 1 leader labels Netanyahu as new Hitler. You're not alone. Biden says attacks on Israel like 15 9/11s. Instagram censored image of Gaza hospital bombing, claims it's too sexual. Biden vows support for Israel, says he's sad and outraged by hospital blast. Why United States intelligence says Israel did not attack Gaza hospital. Videos reportedly show the explosion was in a parking lot and the buildings are intact. Joran van der Sloot admits to killing Natalie Holloway in 2005. United States sentences meme maker to prison. United States complicit in Israel crimes, Raisi says. Violent Hamas-sympathizing protesters take over Capitol Hill. Authors versus artificial intelligence. We've got to attack this from all directions. October 19, 2023. Biden to address nation after Israel trip, says I got it done on aid to Gaza. Do a 180. All of corporate media just did exactly what they crucified Tucker Carlson for doing. Moment Georgia cop shoots dead black motorist during roadside brawl after his taser failed during traffic stop for 100 miles per hour speeding. Victoria's Secret returns to sexiness after woke marketing nearly destroys brand. Israel continues deadly Gaza bombing campaign after Biden's visit. Inside the psychiatric hospitals where foster kids are a gold mine. Ex-Trump lawyer Sidney Powell pleads guilty in Georgia election case ahead of trial. Acting out. Letter from 2,000 actors and musicians slammed for accusing Israel of war crimes while ignoring Hamas terrorist slaughter. North Carolina landscaper mows around a dead body thinking it was a Halloween decoration. New poll shows Trump cleaning house in swing state. Trip to Israel ties Biden and U.S. to any Gaza offensive. Trump offers to visit Israel. Biden visits war zone as GOP melts down. Up to 6 Chinese warships in Middle East. Hamas's hostage-taking handbook says to kill the difficult ones and use hostages as human shields. Britney Spears. No TV interview for new book. And that's my call. Nobody is buying Los Angeles' fanciest real estate. Trump may have to throw his clown car full of lawyers under the bus. Jordan won't seek a third vote and backs plan to empower interim speaker. October 20th, 2023. Biden calls for more aid for Israel and Ukraine. Behind the curtain. Rattled U.S. government fears war could spread. 4D chess. Biden offers the Palestinians $100 million in exchange for none of the hostages. Biden hoaxes the world. Uses dead Jews to pitch more Ukraine funding. Marlow. Speech was not about Israel. POTUS shills for military-industrial complex from Oval Office. Meanwhile, Americans still hostage. Trump is about to be ripped to shreds by a New York judge. The risk is high. Biden White House's media gaffe could put operators' lives in danger, Special Operations Group says. 15 shipwrecks unearthed in Mediterranean Sea. Polar bear shock. Vanishing animals not killed by climate change but have just migrated, says scientist. Unraveling democracy. The corporate takeover. Federal agents investigate sugar exporter over allegations of forced labor. What exactly do you tell the insurance company when a giraffe falls on your car? Taylor Swift has girls' night out with Selena Gomez and Zoe Kravitz. Number 1, draft pick for Wall Street. McHenry's rise thrills Washington-wary executives. Palestinian leader refused Biden phone call. China's move to amend state secrets law fuels concern among businesses. How killers of the flower moon got swept up in the culture wars. The House Freedom Caucus chickens come home to roost. October 21, 2023. AP visual analysis. Rocket from Gaza appeared to go astray and likely caused deadly hospital explosion. Trump's bitter standoff with Fox News is only getting worse. Decisive action. Dems praised Biden's cognizant Israel response. This is a man that does not seem demented. A new low for San Francisco. Convicted pedophile sets up homeless camp outside school with signs saying free fentanyl for new users and insists his offer is not a joke. Minor quakes trigger landslides in Black Sea region. Victory. Federal judge overturns California's unconstitutional assault weapons ban. Aid finally begins to trickle into Gaza through Egypt's border crossing. Military supplies, border security, and, much less, aid. Biden pushes $106 billion spending bill. Jim Jordan's conspiratorial quest for power. Israel's most famous hostage rescue commando faces his toughest test. Texas church gets Millstone of the Month award for facilitating out-of-state trans surgeries for kids. When chase stunts fall, those in the know alight on Portland parks and other secret spots. He was once a favorite of the right. Now, Mike Pence can't get a crowd of 15 to a pizza ranch. Biden leading Americans to World War III, says Trump. Mosquito-borne illness reaches United States soil. China to exceed predictions with over 1,000 nukes by 2030 according to Pentagon report. Kim Kardashian goes all sexy vamp in red dress for celeb-studded 43rd birthday bash. Hell on Earth. Inside the horror of the Hamas attack that sparked a war. Progressive Squad member berates Biden and Democrat colleagues over support for Israel. October 22, 2023. Scientists propose a missing law for evolution in the universe. All dwarves in Daily Wire Snow White to be played by Ben Shapiro. Israel says Hezbollah dragging Lebanon toward war as towns empty. Detroit synagogue president Samantha Wall stabbed to death outside of her home. Founded Muslim-Jewish Forum of Detroit. Eye on the prize. Georgia prosecutor is offering plea deals to Trump co-defendants to bag the real target, experts say. Wealthy married Nike executives are both struck and killed by lumber that slid off truck as they cycled through Napa Valley. Biden to send $100 billion in funding to Middle East and Ukraine. Stop messaging me, a black journalist, about white Irish slaves. Another hospital in Gaza is bleeding. London protests devolve as guys with Palestinian flag knock down and trample on LGBT flag. Coca-Cola quietly deletes BLM support off website and Ted Cruz calls them out for pro-Hamas support. Biden admits to influencing Israel's invasion timing. Are cemeteries obsolete? United States sends drone ships to Japan, signaling new role for unmanned surface vessels and deterring China. MSU football game snafu. Hitler's mug flashes on large screen, school officials apologize. Why Twitter, now X, serves you bad information on the Israel-Hamas war. Iran says Mideast could go out of control as Israel steps up attacks. Trump insiders fear consequences of his Netanyahu vendetta. Video analysis shows Gaza hospital hit by failed rocket meant for Israel. Documents found on fighters reveal Hamas capabilities and bloody plans. October 23, 2023. Dwindling fuel supplies for Gaza's hospital generators put premature babies in incubators at risk. House GOP Speaker race balloons to 9 candidates. Crisis. What crisis? Biden enjoys breezy beach walk as Middle East explodes. COVID is ramping up for a year of deadly surges. Britney Spears as you've never seen her before. Singer sobbed as she read emotional scenes with Ryan Gosling during audition for The Notebook 21 years ago. Death squads. Israel releases unedited video of Hamas terror attack to counter Holocaust denial-like phenomenon. Turkey moves to ratify Sweden's NATO bid. The left has really let us down. Why many American Jews fell abandoned. George Santos suggested the Chinese Communist Party kidnapped his niece. Huh? Skin City. Inside LA's brazen sex market, where women sell themselves in broad daylight, emboldened by California's controversial new laws. Trump's pardon of General Flynn under scrutiny after Sidney Powell flips. We have a new worst post of all time, ladies and gents. This journalist wants to differentiate between beheaded babies and babies found headless. Trans 11-year-old becomes youngest Grand Marshal of Orlando Pride Parade. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce hold hands, leaving Chiefs vs. Chargers game. CIA-backed Ukrainian spies behind Russian journalist's murder. Trump steps on another GOP bombshell. Hong Kong to host climate forum for United States and mainland China, targeting Bay areas. Why Israeli officials screened footage of the Hamas attack. Blueface makes it rain on strippers at Rams game. Hamas flag parades around Minnesota stand up for Palestine demonstration. Baby boomers are aging. Their kids aren't ready. Ukrainian spies with deep ties to CIA wage shadow war against Russia. October 24, 2023. France's Macron says he stands in solidarity with Israel's fight against terrorism. Trump's ex-attorney, Jenna Ellis, sobs as she pleads guilty in Georgia election case and says she would have refused to back ex-president if I knew then what I know now. Quake survivors develop rescue drone. Americans' trust in news media falls to new lows. California congressman offers bill to allow striking workers to collect unemployment pay. British freefaller dies after losing control and crashing into 1,300-foot cliff. How the gun industry targets kids using TikTok, Instagram, and video. Gaza's health system in complete collapse, officials say. America's hard left is tearing itself apart. Turning Point USA staff attacked by pro-Hamas mob outside Jewish businesses in famous Chicago suburb. Over 100 pounds of cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl worth estimated $4 million discovered in New York City pizzeria. Black Swan event. Will Israel-Hamas conflict drive oil prices to $150 per barrel? Biden's youth voter problem is getting worse. United States Senator says carrying gun into Hong Kong was honest mistake. Trump throws everything but the kitchen sink at dismissing January 6th case. 15,000 scientists warn society could collapse this century in dire climate report. Released Hamas hostage says she went through hell. Released hostage was held in spiderweb of damp Gaza tunnels. October 25, 2023. Israel accused of using starvation as a weapon against Gaza civilians. Chaos at congressional Halloween party as House Republicans all wear same clown costume. Trump rages as former acolytes turn against him. Dad's gonna go play. Biden associate at Center of China Money Transfers played golf with Joe up to a dozen times, FBI docs show. Forget crushing it, startup founders open up about mental health problems. BioNTech's cancer vaccine succeeds in halting tumor growth. Emmer drops out of House Speaker race after Trump calls Rhino and supporters bail. Scamming king gets taste of his own medicine after his fraud factory is rumbled. The far right has a new big lie, claiming to support Palestine. Juvenile behavior. Teens accused of intentionally plowing into retired police chief on bike ride laugh and flip off slain victim's family in court. Why Tupac never died. Donald Trump's allies are falling like dominoes. It seems the UFC has forgotten about Mulvaney Gate cause they're partnering up with Bud Light starting in 2024. Gaza relief operations are in grave jeopardy as fuel supplies dwindle. Jihadists say Hamas members were each promised $10,000 and apartment for bringing hostages back to Gaza. Gaza families wear ID bracelets to avoid burial in mass graves. No Jesus. Christians are under attack in Australia. The centrist plan to save Donald Trump. China introduces regulations to protect minors from internet dangers. Trump lawyers finally released the Kraken. On him. Israel agrees to U.S. request to delay invasion of Gaza. October 26, 2023. Witnesses recount terrifying moments when Maine gunmen opened fire in bowling alley. Israel mounts new sortie into Gaza and hints there may be several invasions. Biden's post-war plan. New talks on Israel-Palestine two-state solution. Smoke rises over Capitol indicating Congress has resumed setting taxpayers' money on fire. U.S. economy grew at a 4.9% pace last quarter, fastest since 2021. FBI received criminal information on Joe and Hunter Biden from over 40 confidential sources, Senator Grassley finds. Maine massacre gunman was sectioned after hearing voices and threatening to blow up military training base. Firearms instructor, 40, spent 2 weeks in mental health facility this summer. California Supreme Court ends Disneyland's fight against Anaheim wage law. Woman guilty of taking British toddler to Kenya for genital mutilation in legal first. How Stop the Steal Republicans could take over Virginia. Man arrested for ripping arms off statues of Christ outside Boston Cathedral. Lot of fools out there. Musk on U.S. push to send money to Ukraine. Mike Johnson won't contain the chaos. The person covering Israel-Palestine best is Piers Morgan? Storing women's eggs to delay parenthood wrong concept. Hong Kong health chief. Mouthy Trump smacked with a fine and the prospect of a new gag order. Western leaders flocking to Israel indicative of regime collapse. Leader Ayatollah. America is lucky Biden's in charge. She needed life-changing surgery on her leg, but waited months. Then years. Why the Q3 GDP surge is a mirage. Squad Democrat surrenders to police over criminal charge for fire alarm stunt. October 27, 2023. Divers to search waters near dock where main suspect's car found. Trump's vanishing act. Why Trump rallies are going extinct. Very concerned. Top Hunter Biden prosecutor, FBI constricted internal communications, testimony shows. Widespread looting breaks out in Acapulco after Mexico's worst ever hurricane devastated beach resort city and killed at least 27. Ivanka on the hot seat. U.S. strikes Iran-linked sites in Syria in retaliation for attacks on U.S. troops. 1 year after Elon Musk bought Twitter, his hilarious nightmare continues. Manhunt for Maine massacre suspect sparks alert at Canadian border as his search history of Biden conspiracy theories emerges. Charlottesville's Robert E. Lee statue had its face sliced off and was melted down. WAPA is celebrating like they just destroyed the Ring of Power. South Korean court upholds law banning gay sex within armed forces. Ayodhya's reincarnation. Massive temple construction brings cultural and economic boom to this rural town from the Ramayana. Why Meghan McCain continues to flail. It's sunk in. Elon Musk bought Twitter and wrecked it. Li Keqiang. Former premier had fatal heart attack during swim in Shanghai, sources say. Mike Johnson is the least vetted speaker in modern history. Trump's gag order drama is getting serious. October 28, 2023. Israeli bombing turns Gaza into ball of fire as blackout adds to distress. Maine shooting suspect found dead of self-inflicted gunshot wound. FBI headquarters stonewalled investigative activity on Hunter Biden, former prosecutor testifies. Massive rally held in Istanbul to support Palestine. Joy Behar mocked for saying deer hunters don't use AR-15 because it would demolish animal. Hunt for a killer. Maine mass shooting suspect Robert Card found dead with 2 firearms and wearing same sweatshirt from shooting. David French, one of Twitter's most insufferable voices, takes his ball and goes home. Here were some of the very best reactions. Would aliens really want to invade us? Mike Johnson, the thinly veiled MAGA speaker. Shenzhen theme park closed after 8 people injured in roller coaster collision. The decolonization narrative is dangerous and false. Casamigos Halloween Party 2023. Paris Hilton goes all Britney Spears. Bieber, MGK, Fox, Maguire. October 29, 2023. Gun shop owner says main suspect denied silencer ahead of shooting. Israel strikes near Gaza's largest hospital after accusing Hamas of using it as a base. Behind the curtain. Biden's horror shows. In most popular move of presidential campaign, Mike Pence ends presidential campaign. Dark chocolate. Pricey treats. Halloween candy inflation hits double digits for the second year in a row. Magic Johnson is now a billionaire. Friends star Matthew Perry dead at 54, found in hot tub at LA home. The biggest Republican losers of Mike Johnson's speakership coup. Iran issues ominous red lines warning to US and Israel. Scientists accidentally create new material that could make computer chips 1 million times faster. No more culture wars? Corporate America is finally realizing that getting woke is bad for business. In Li Keqiang's heartland, floral tributes for China's former premier. Gavin Newsom's not-so-excellent Chinese adventure. October 30th, 2023. Israel expands ground assault into Gaza as fears rise over airstrikes near crowded hospitals. United States military bulk buying Japan seafood to counter China import ban. Newsom shows solidarity with Biden by also falling on face in front of world leaders. FTX customers should recoup most of their losses unless IRS Bigfoots them. The COVID cover-up program. Wars and terrorist attacks. Matthew Perry starred in a hit show. But for those fighting addiction, his greatest legacy is his memoir. Former government communications headquarters worker jailed for life after trying to kill United States spy. Trump rages about his children having to testify at his fraud trial. Trump immediately lashes out after judge reinstates gag order in D.C. A professional hockey player died on live television after being slashed across the neck with a skate blade. United States to develop nuclear weapon 24 times more powerful than Hiroshima bomb. The end of Mike Johnson's MAGA honeymoon. Trump's old legal arguments are coming back to haunt him. The secret of industry devouring the United States economy. Matthew Perry played pickleball to help with his recovery. Kept him away from drugs. Hamas official explains what Gaza tunnels are really for. Ketamine therapy providers say they're running out of the drug. October 31st, 2023. Israel says it attacked Hamas gunmen inside Gaza tunnels. Colleagues compliment John Fetterman on his excellent Frankenstein costume. The Democrats steal curtain. Trump team in Colorado battling effort to keep him off ballot. Jake Tapper's tantrum catches the eye of CNN's new boss. Tight grip. Biden's newest bid to clamp down on AI could open the door to more online censorship, experts warn. Chaos in Congress as screaming protesters with hands covered in blood are dragged out after calling Secretary of State Antony Blinken a murderer as they demand Gaza ceasefire. Enough is enough. Democrat mayor gives cops power to dismantle methadone mile riddled with crime and homelessness. 100 warships conduct historic parade on Turkey's centenary. Race war mental illness causes woman to claim good morning is hate speech. Unproven advanced recycling facilities have received millions in public subsidies. Wind-whipped Highland fire swells to 2,200 acres in Riverside County. Some Trump critics said one of his gag orders was unconstitutional. He proved them wrong. Joe Biden's pseudonym emails. What we know is 82,000 pages unearthed. Man in body armor with guns, extra mags, and improvised explosives found dead at Colorado amusement park alongside cryptic note. He says he's a moderate Republican, and the party is on a slide to authoritarianism. Judicial Watch. Trump gag order is unlawful and illogical. Blinken's son dresses up as Zelensky for Halloween. Chinese officials must feel they are being followed by shadows, says Xi. The solar panel backlash is here. Halloween 2023. Celebs show off spooky looks. King-size eye candy. The untold story of Tucker Carlson's ugly exit from Fox News. Did Trump already violate his gag order?